I think in order to understand how to play against Dhalsim, you have to understand what he wants to go for. And it's... Obviously, yeah, we can say just play the character, dude. But what if you don't have a fucking month to dedicate in playing this stupid character? What's a TLDR? Give me the TLDR. This character, his entire existence is to annoy you, right? He's gonna press big buttons full screen, and you're just gonna get tilted, you're gonna jump, and he's gonna start doing, you know, these buttons to anti you. It's not that deep, bro. The character's not that deep. How do we counter this stuff, though? There's a lot of things that people get caught by. This character does have a lot of knowledge checks in his kit. We'll dissect them one by one. The first one that we want to break down is this button right here. Every character in the game can whiff punish this button. Every single character. It doesn't matter who you are, every character can whiff punish them. And sometimes some characters can whiff punish them for huge damage. Let's have our friend, our buddy here, just press his button. What happens if he does this against Marissa? Oh no, that's the round. Well, that sucks, buddy. GG's. Every character can do this, okay? Figure out what you can do with your character. Make sure that if Dhalsim presses this stupid button full screen, he dies. Another common tactic Dhalsims will start doing is pressing stand heavy kick from full screen. So why are they pressing stand heavy kick? Well, that button is cancelable. So usually a loop they'll go for is stand heavy kick into fireball, right? They'll cancel into fireball, and it feels like you can't really do much. What would happen here is people will try to parry the fireball, and that forces their character model to be standing. So that you guys kind of get caught in this like pseudo loop. The key to beating this is if you block the stand heavy kick, you don't want to parry the fireball, because if you parry the fireball, it's gonna force you to stand, and you're gonna get hit with another stand heavy kick. If you actually block the stand heavy kick, just walk up a little bit and block that fireball. The key to beating this button is to make it whiff. Crouch under it. If you crouch under it, he has a lot of recovery here. Gives you time to create, to get some of that space back. You know, you can drive rush in. Some characters, you can whiff punish it as well. I mean, he's not going to press it from that range. He's more going to press it from this range, right? From this range, it whiffs, you take your turn, right? You close that gap. If you're walking and blocking, you're gonna get caught in this fucking infinite loop. Just walk forward, block low. That's a big one. I think a lot of people just lose, like auto lose that matchup because they keep eating stand heavy kicks from full screen. What else can we discuss? So what if you get in this range? Dhalsims go for this button, crouching medium punch. This button is cancelable, so they'll go for shit like this, right? How do you beat that? Every time. Every time. That will beat fireball every single time. Dhalsim will have to do something different, right? In order to beat the DI, they'll have to go for like flame. And they have to use heavy flame in particular. Yeah, you eat shit, right? So how do you counter this? Just jump over. So you create this little mini game against Dhalsim. If they want to use this button from this range and they're canceling it, they don't have a safe option to cancel unless they spend meter. They have to go for EX Fireball. EX Fireball, like they're gonna be able to DI you back, and they can block the jump in. But you're forcing them to burn bar just to keep them safe. That's huge. That is huge. If you're not doing any of this, you're just... Dhalsim's getting free pressure. Perfect pairing, heavy flame, and OSing into DI. I have no idea what that even means, bro. Honestly, you don't need to go that deep. You really don't. As long as you're limiting his options and punishing him heavily for the options he picks, that's good enough. Obviously, we can delve into the weeds a bit more, you know, figure out these very specific, like timing specific OSs against certain things, but we don't have to. Just keep it simple. Like, this is already good enough. Like, the Dhalsim player is gonna have to second guess what they do from those buttons. Yeah, no, my dude going off, yeah, sure, bro, but I'm not, this isn't about very specific tech. This is more how to beat the character, right? I'm not going to tell people to spend the next 3 hours in training mode learning this perfect parry window. Just keep it simple. Keep the matchup simple. So we're figuring out like, okay, from this range, stand heavy punch is a risk. Close, stand heavy kick, we can crouch under it. And from this range, crouching medium punch, right? There's a lot in between. A lot happens in between. AKA shit like this, right? They'll do shit like that. Float fireball into fireball, float fireball, fireball. I see people get clipped with this, and you'd assume it's an infinite loop. It really isn't, man. If Dhalsim is floating up into fireball, there's a really easy counter for it. You walk forward. Obviously, they're not going to shoot it from that angle. If they shoot it from that angle, it's terrible because you can just take up all the space. Usually, they'll shoot it from like this angle, right? If you see that fireball, just jump over it. So why do you jump over it? Dhalsim cannot do anything after he throws that fireball. He is locked into recovery. This is all recovery. As he's falling, he can't press buttons. He can't do anything until he lands. Then there's a recovery period, and now he can do something. So if we get a certain angle on this, just jump over it. Create that space, you know? Create that space. This isn't free. You're just closing the gap. Throwing out those air fireballs is actually a disadvantage for Dhalsim. He can't really stop you from just closing the gap on that. What Dhalsim can do is EX Fireball. After EX Fireball, he could actually change trajectory, or he can press a button, right? After EX Fireball, he can flow. If you jump, he can clip you. So rule of thumb is if he does an EX Fireball in the air, don't try to jump over that, because that's a bait. That's a bait. They want you to jump over that one and they'll anti-air you. Something that's very common for Dhalsims to do as well, it's just teleport after that. This is very common. What I do, if I see EX Fireball, I will walk back and wait for the teleport and then air to air. So if I see this, I'm just waiting for the teleport. That's the only thing that can threaten me. If he doesn't teleport, then whatever, I just block it, right? But just walk out of range. Like it'll take some practice for the timing, because if you are in range where you're forced to block that EX Fireball, then that teleport hit's kind of guaranteed. So that's why you want to walk back out of range for it. And whatever, if you're giving up space, that's fine. He spent 2 bars. He's landing in the ground. Like if he did EX Fireball into nothing or EX Fireball into float, don't worry about it. You just walk back out of the range for the fireball. He didn't teleport, okay. He's still in the air floating, you can take space. This is something to keep in mind too. People, bro, when I watch people play this character, they're just freaking the fuck out the entire time. They're having a full-on panic attack. It feels like when people play against Dhalsim, it's just pure hatred. Like the round starts and go, fuck you, go, I hit you dead. Like they're just going ham. Chill. Take a step back. It's not that serious, man. It's okay. Let's take it step by step. Step by step, okay? You don't need to do all this shit. You're just killing yourself. You're giving Dhalsim his win condition. Dhalsim's win condition is literally just to frustrate you into making a lot of mistakes in neutral. You're already frustrated. He didn't have to do anything in the game to frustrate you. You already started the game frustrated, so let's make sure that's not the case. Another float. We gotta talk about float, bro. People lose their mind with float. Like this right here. When Dhalsim's doing any of that, all the Dhalsims hate this one simple trick. I might use that as a clickbait title, bro. Just, if you see the Dhalsim floating in the air, bro, just walk. Just walk. It's okay. Walk, and out of nowhere, you can just drive rush. Depending on your character, I know Marissa has really good options. Like, you can drive rush, stand heavy punch. And Dhalsim kind of has to be committed to a button in order to stop it. Every character should have an option for this float after a drive rush. Just mess around with it with your character. The point of this is you're walking and you're making them guess when you're going to drive rush. They can't just stay up there floating all day. They have to land, right? They have to land. They have to commit to something. If they commit to a button, they're landing right away. And if you start your drive rush, they don't have a fast enough option from there in order to stop you. This is fairly safe to do. What you shouldn't do is start fucking jumping as soon as you see them in the air, because that's what they want you to do, right? You jump and they just clip you with like stand medium or with float medium punch into fireball, teleport behind you, then you're fucked, right? You have to make them guess as well for what you're gonna do. Don't be predictable here. Don't just try to unga your way through. Obviously, jump shouldn't be completely eliminated, because when you hit Dhalsim out of the air, you put him in a juggle state. So every character can combo off this. So understanding what your option is, what your combo routes are, the time you'll land this. I mean, you're not going to land this jump very often if you're playing against a decent Dhalsim, because that's what they want you to do. They want you to jump so they can press their button. But if you mix up your options here by walking, drive rush, jump, it's going to be difficult for the Dhalsim to deal with all of them from that float state. Now, this is another, I feel like, gimmick that Dhalsim does. It's a knowledge check, but it's when he teleports from that float. I feel like that's like the biggest scrub killer, is teleporting from float. People just freeze up after that and they shit. Oh, okay, TNS is starting, so gotta finish this up real quick. So how do you deal with teleport from float? Most characters can just stand jab it, right? If you see Dhalsim teleport, you just stand jab it. And you put them in the juggle state, so you could combo from it. Marissa's stand jab is kind of slow, so it's not the best for her. But every character can do this. Every character can just jab him out of it. So just walk forward. As you're walking, you're just looking for that teleport. If he teleports behind you, in front of you, it doesn't matter. Your stand jab will beat him. And just be ready for your juggle combo. Now, this is Marissa exclusive, where Marissa can input a Gladius, Light Punch Gladius, during this teleport. Since her stand jab is slow, it is possible for Dhalsim to hit her after the teleport, especially if you react late. So Marissa can do a Light Punch Gladius in the way you're facing right now. And if they cross you up, it auto-corrects into her Light Punch launcher, which has air invincibility, meaning it beats jumps. So you got something cool like this. And if they teleport in front, you got Gladius. This will work every single time. Every single time. One last thing. Level 2. Dhalsim's level 2 is... it's in a sad state right now. It's in a sad state right now because you could actually crouch under it. It has invincibility. If he wakes up with it, it's invincible. But if you do like a crouch button, crouch anything, or just crouch block on his wake up, this shit just whiffs. And you either get a throw, or you can choose to go for, you know, a specific combo route. It's difficult to go for a combo route. You really have to lab it, because as you saw, the fireball's still there. I just go for the throw, man. I just take the guaranteed damage. I mean, if I have level 3, I'll go for like a level 3 or something, but just keep in mind that he cannot wake up with this level 2 for free. If you start pressuring the Dhalsim with crouching buttons on his wake up, you will always be able to beat it. That makes sense? All this makes sense?